Hey guys, I thought I'd share a clip from a lecture given by a Unitarian named Sean Finnegan. He gave this lecture years ago, and he is demonstrating some problems, at least from a Unitarian perspective, with the doctrine of the Trinity. And I think he came across a really salient point regarding Jesus' sort of lack of omniscience during his earthly life. Now, I don't support everything that Sean, speaks on in this lecture or even this little short clip that I'm going to give to you, but I wanted to share it with you. And of course, I would heartily disagree with the Unitarians on the pre-existence of the Logos prior to his incarnation in the womb of Mary. Nevertheless, this clip is valuable, and I hope you enjoy it.
So problem number 5, this is that Jesus was not omniscient. So this is from Latin. Omnis is all, and scient, or science is the word we get science from, means knowledge. So he's not all-knowing. And so that's going to be a problem. God knows everything that can be known. I think from Calvinists to open theists, we can agree with that particular formulation. God knows everything that can be known. Whatever persuasion you are, we can affirm position 2, right? Or statement 2 here. But if the Trinity is true, then Jesus is fully God. And so he should have full knowledge, right? Here's the problem. Mark 13:32, Jesus says, about that day and hour, no one knows. So am I going to believe Jesus or whoever this other person is? I don't know. Neither the angels in heaven nor the Son, but only the Father. So this is Jesus confessing to not knowing something. He's confessing ignorance about the issue of whether or not, or of when he's coming back. So Jesus says he doesn't know something. We have two options. Did Jesus really not know, or was he lying? Jesus, as God, really did know, but pretended not to know. Option number 1. Or Jesus really did not know, and therefore is not really God, at least not in a Trinitarian sense. So, for us, this is a problem. This is another one of these major problems, because either we have Jesus misrepresenting himself, lying, saying he didn't know something that he really did know, or he's God, or he's not God. So either he's God and he's lying, or he's not God. Neither of those are acceptable from a Trinitarian perspective. So this is a real point of tension. And we know that this was historically very difficult for Christianity, because in the Matthew version, a scribe changed it. He took out the Son. So it's just the angels and the Father. But nobody ever messed with the Mark 13:32 one. I think a more efficient or more detail-minded scribe would have fixed the Mark one too. But maybe he was just copying Matthew. I don't know. But we have a strand of manuscript families that omit it from Matthew, but it's always there in Mark, so it's textually certain. And yet we have evidence that there's uncomfortableness about this verse in the Matthew manuscript tradition. So what's the comeback? You've heard it, right? My friends from Australia. When Jesus said he didn't know, he was speaking out of his human nature. And when he did other things, he was doing it out of his divine nature, right? So he wasn't speaking as God. He was speaking as man when he said he didn't know, because humans don't have full knowledge, and God does. So if he speaks and says, I don't know something, he's saying that as a man, but not as God. Okay, so that's the comeback. You guys, have you heard that comeback before? Yes. In conversation? Okay. So here's the response. But the Trinity teaches that there's only one person subsisting in two natures. So the thing that you're interacting with, the being, the person that you're interacting with, that's what there can only be one of. So if he has a divine nature and a human nature, let's assume that he does, he still only has one mind. He still only has one person out of which he interacts with you. You understand? So if we're going to say that, well, in his human mind and his divine mind, we've split the person and we're all Nestorian heretics. So we can't say that. It's an invalid response to the Mark 13:32 problem, and it makes us heretics. Which, as Trinitarians, we're trying not to be heretics, but it's hard work. He cannot have two minds, one that knew something and another that did not know something, unless we now want to make the absurd claim that mind and person are not correlated. That's what you're stuck with. Mind and person are not anything to do with each other. But I mean, if you think about that for a moment, that's absolutely the epitome of absurdity as a contradiction. And if we had Yaku up here, he could do a syllogism for us and thoroughly make that point more clearly.